दही बड़ा खाने का मन है। वाह क्या स्वाद!
असली स्वाद तो MDH दही बड़ा रायता मसाले से ही आता है।
I have with me in the studio Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor. He's been, among several other positions he has held, as former Director General, Inspection and Safety of the Indian Air Force. Air Marshal, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's a very seasoned panel we have. To his left is Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava. Among various positions that he has held, has been former Chief Engineering Officer of the fighter base, which is relevant in this context, and you've been former Vice President of L&T Defence as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And to my right is Air Commodore Dr. Ashminder Singh Bahal, who's been former Deputy Commandant of the College of Air Warfare of the Indian Air Force. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, the fact is that I don't want to get taken with a CAG report, but let's cut the chase on this. Who's at fault here? And do we have a problem? Can we be as candid as possible?
Yes, we do have a problem.
What is the problem, sir?
Problem is that we are behind in the curve, in the loop. Because the pace at which the tech is moving, the pace at which the development is happening globally, we are stuck in our procedures, which is taking too long. To put it as a normal example, by the time you order a phone, 2G is in use. By the time the SQRs and other things get approved, globally they are working on 3G. So they tell you, okay, go ahead and buy 2G. We say, no, we now want 3G. By the time 4G is launched. So we are always in a catch-up.
Now, the CAG report says, and to some extent our sources in the civilian bureaucracy say, that the problem is with the Air Force. And the Air Force is not willing to accept that these ASQRs, which is Air Staff Qualitative Requirements, we were simply put, I think, the basic requirements from the fighter jet of that the Air Force expects. That the Air Force takes immense amount of time even framing the SQRs, so the problem is with the Air Force.
No, that is not true.
Is that true, sir?
No, that is not true. That is not true.
Are you saying this just because you
No, it's not
at the highest levels of the Air Force?
It's not that. It's not that. See, the sad part is the people who are deciding and deliberating, they have absolutely no idea. They have never seen aeroplane. They have never dealt with these weapons and sensors and bombs. They are absolutely, so the kind of questions and answers which you keep answering, it's, how should I put it in a layman, that if you say that AIIMS, Delhi, would not be run by a doctor, so, or the missile or the space thing would not be run by a scientist.
Yes.
So, the kind of questions you expect coming is a similar process which I feel. This may be one of the reasons for the delay which you're saying.
And just to put the today's news report in context, while we're running this, I request our producers to run the pictures of the air crash and the aftermath of that, because we must keep reminding ourselves of why we are debating this tonight. And that visual reference will help a great deal, producers. Now the question is, Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, my question is to you. He's been quite candid. Let me say this. For an Air Marshal who till recently was wearing the uniform to come and say that the civilian bureaucracy does not get the immediacy or the urgency or specifically the requirement. Now, what are we waiting for? I mean, should we try and speed up Hindustan Aeronautics into delivering those fighter jets? Should we just blindly import from outside, which is going to be against the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat? What is our option? We have to use those planes, because without those planes, a large part of our fleet goes away.
I must thank you for being on your show and giving this opportunity and asking a very great question. The question, there are two realities we are facing. The one reality is that aging aircraft fleet is there and numbers are dwindling. And the second reality is, why aren't we able, as a nation, able to do things faster than we should have done?
Correct.
So, having served, actually I was Director of Production for Bharat Dynamics Limited also. So I have seen from Air Force side
and the production
and also from the production side.
Yes.
And I was connected with MOD in various capacities, so I've seen the process. What he says is right, and what Air Force feels is right. I think we need to further reform and do up our processes, for which there were task forces ordered and some kind of things happened. But the way we have laid out our procedure, like they are saying, the one word is SQRs are not defined in time. But has somebody raised this question, what is the approval process of ASQR? How long it takes in bureaucracy? Is only Air Force party to it? I define the ASQR, it goes for its own approval, and then you get into the next process of building up your RFI and RFP and all that. So these processes...
But the Air Force is being blamed. Let me quote here from the CAG report, and some people are asking me tonight, Arnab, why have you put out a CAG report? Isn't it top secret stuff? Well, I have only said I'm putting out only relevant parts of the CAG report to start this debate. Sir, it says, para 2.11 page 8 says, Indian Air Force had started developing the ASQRs for the indigenous development of the trainer aircraft in 2003, which were finalized and given to HAL in 2009. So the CAG says the Air Force took 6 years. So, is that the full picture?
Allow me to say how it happens. Sir. I designed my ASQR today because I have done that job.
Yes.
You design the ASQRs today based on the inputs you have, the technology levels you have at that time.
Yeah.
But suppose when it goes through the process and you take another 2-3 years, the technology has already jumped forward. What do? Then redoing the ASQR again becomes my responsibility. Or you say, you have done this and I'm going to buy this only.
Yeah.
That's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
So we have to have what we suggested, we have to have some jump the technology or join the technology kind of narrative and some mechanism to do that.
Yeah.
That mechanism has to be fast enough, and in the times when technology curve is very fast changing, you have to really keep it very fast. So the process has to be looked at.
Yeah.
If as a nation we want to really improve upon it, instead of blaming the ASQR, you have to talk about what is our approval process and how does it go about and how it culminates into a product into the hands of, or how does it get inducted into Indian Air Force.
Yeah. So while we are talking all this technical language, when I was speaking to Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor day before yesterday, he shared with me a personal association he had with Flight Lieutenant Siddharth Yadav. Would you like to share that? Why these pictures are so poignant for all of us? We can make this a technical discussion, but at the end of the day, a young 28-year-old pilot made a split-second decision that saved countless lives. We must not lose that, sir. I mean, would you want to mention
Yes,
that?
I mentioned that because I was mentioning to you that when I was the commandant of the Air Force Academy,
Sir.
These young boys used to pass out from there.
Did you know him?
No, personally I didn't know him, but he was one of the cadets who was there. There are hundreds of them. But the issue which I was mentioning to you yesterday, day before, was that the upbringing is so enshrined in all these boys and girls that there is absolutely no hesitation when the time comes to take a decision.
At that moment.
Yeah, it
at
is
that moment.
Microseconds to a few seconds.
Yeah.
So the aircraft doesn't give you much time.
So you know what happened here is that in those final moments, obviously he realized that something's wrong.
Yes.
The plane is going to crash. And he has a choice of saving his life.
Absolutely.
He has a choice of saving his co-pilot's life. Right? And he has a choice of saving the lives of thousands of people, you know. He first saves his co-pilot's life, Manoj Kumar Singh, and he ejects him. So is that decision taken by him?
See, in this case, he was with a senior person.
Yes.
So what transpires you actually?
You don't know.
You don't know.
But he did steer the aircraft
that
out
is
of
what
the
has come
populated
out,
area.
that he has taken it away from the habited area and taken it to an open ground. So that has come in the open media. I had mentioned in my tweet today morning was that the reasons could be anything. It could be a bird hit, it could be a technical failure, it could be
We'll find out.
So that the inquiry would find out.
Yeah.
But the people who are on ground and the first-hand reports which have come, he has taken the aircraft away from the habited area.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, this, I don't want to be disrespectful of this aircraft, but because it's flying in the Indian Air Force, but it is a dinosaur aircraft, isn't it? The Jaguar, we are the only operator of this Jaguar, which is called the SEPE Cat Jaguar.
SEPE
Cat Jaguar. Yes, sir.
Okay, the first thing I'll say is that Jaguar has had till 2015 50 crashes. I'm sure you'll be knowing about that.
Crashes.
50. Yeah. And since then, let's say even conservatively, if I put at 10 to 15 crashes, so we have had about loss of 65 aircraft since we bought it at 140. And there are numbers today are 115 with 83 operational.
How frequent are the crashes of late?
2 aircraft per year is virtually the rate being maintained for most years. But I want to tell you something different. You know, you mentioned CAG. I want to quote CAG. And the same CAG report has also said that the defense research organizations, 2/3 of the 175 projects have had a delay from 16% to 500%. And the best example is LCA. You look at LCA, it came into being in 1983, 1984. ADA was formed 2001. It flew first time. And thereafter, 2016, the induction started, July 2016. Till today, HAL has not been able to give us 40 aircraft. And it is not just the GE 404 engine.
Isn't that because the Americans are not giving the engine? We need the G engine. They're slowing it down.
No, now when we look at GE 404 engine, they already had that many number of engines for the first 40 aircraft. It is beyond that for Mark 1A that you need more engines. And let us be also very clear that it is not just the engine which is slowing down the Mark 1A. It is also the ELTA radar. It is also the integration with the Astra missile. It is also the integration with BrahMos. Now, I want to say something more on this. You have to give me that 2 minutes.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, most important thing is that I take lectures for DGCA, for safety management systems and risk management.
That's right, sir.
All accidents that take place do not take place in isolation. They take place when organization as a whole has failed. And what is HAL doing about it? HAL is the aircraft manufacturing or production agency, which means license production is done by them. Fourth line servicing is done by them. There are a lot of things which, if the quality is not good at the initial stages, when the aircraft are getting old, the replacement of the parts require much more faster dynamism than they would have required had they been, like, very simple example, the Maruti 800 that I bought in 1985 from Japan, which came from Japan, gave me better service than the Maruti 800 which was made in India. Now, what I want to highlight is that there are a lot of issues with respect to HAL also, which somehow are not coming up in this. And that is why when you showed the chief getting frustrated and saying, I have no confidence in you, I personally would like to endorse that and say, I have no confidence in HAL. And it is one of the reasons why.
Too extreme a statement. What is our alternative? We keep buying from foreign countries. I mean, how dependent can we be on foreign countries?
No,
look at the global scenario today. Is Trump going to stand with you at all times? No. Are the Chinese going to depend on American planes? No. I'm saying don't depend, but we have to develop our own. I mean, let me get a view on this side on that. What do you feel? He's gone, he says completely almost the fault is with HAL. Can you give an equally strong response?
We did try to make Kaveri engine. The Kaveri engine, see, we have too many verticals in DRDO, too many verticals. So there's an agency called ADA which is supposed to design aeroplane. There's another agency which is supposed to develop. HAL is supposed to manufacture. Then somewhere we decided to Gas Turbine Research Center which designed Kaveri engine. So Kaveri engine is a very good engine which they produced, but it failed to work in the extreme.
So we can't experiment either, can we? In today's sixth generation aircraft situation, can we experiment?
We wasted many years. It is giving a thrust of around 65 kilonewtons or something, but the requirement is around 75.
We can't experiment there.
So then the Air Force spent another time looking for an engine which is compatible to this airframe. So we lost time. Then we shortlisted GE 404 engines. Now, to have your other things compatible to this 404 engines, which was designed for Kaveri, had to be changed. So these are delays which have occurred.
No, my problem is I think that what's going to happen is that this will all go into the twisted hands of diplomacy, depending on which country squeezes you more. We did a part requirement. We bought this 35, 36 Rafale aircraft, but they were part of the solution.
Why didn't we buy 126 at that time?
Why should we have? Let me counter you. Why should we have?
No.
The Americans are only interested in selling us stuff.
No.
Will they stand by us?
I'm not talking
Will
of
they
the
stop
F-35.
selling F-16s to Pakistan?
No, I don't want to buy the F-35s. And one thing I want to say, Arnab, here is, we got 30 squadrons of fighter aircraft today. We are going to number plate one more MiG-21 squadron, and that will leave us with 29. We got 12 squadrons, 3 squadrons of Mirage 2000, 3 squadrons of MiG-29, 6 squadrons of Jaguar that are finishing 40 years from 2028 up to 2035.
I understand the problem. I'm with you on the same side. But are we going to be comfortable? My question is, all of us are on the same side on that. But is it a good thing?
No.
Air Vice Marshal, to just go to the next country and buy a truckload of fighter jets? Is that going to solve the problem?
I have been in the production, and I have been very close to HAL also, because that's also a production agency. I was in.
He says HAL cannot be depended on.
See, it's
do you agree with him?
I don't agree in that sense, the sense it is being put out to the national audience. The sense is we have a great organization called HAL. It had not delivered. There are fault lines there, and we need to bridge up the fault lines if we have to become a self-dependent country. The basic idea being, as you raise this, if we buy everything from abroad, we'll remain as we are.
So the fact is the Congress regime really messed up HAL. They weakened HAL.
So
now Modi is trying to bring it back, but it's going to take time. But at the same time, there's going to be pressure because these crashes and the aging fleet will come into greater focus. So what's the midway there?
So with due respect to all the problems we have to take a national solution. The solution lies in restructuring the way all organizations are put together, and the vector sum must deliver. The focus should be on delivery, which this government has, of course, been
it's going to be easy to bring all parts of the piece together. Isn't that too idealistic?
Yes, we keep
saying. Do you agree with this?
There is a problem here. The problem is that long term, I'm in agreement with you, indigenization, the way we are going about it. But short term, we have a capability gap. We need not erode our capability that we don't even remain relevant with respect to Pakistan Air Force, which is getting too small.
So that's too pessimistic on this. I mean, I would say...
Look at the numbers that I gave you. 17 squadrons will be left at 6 squadrons of Mark 1A, you still got 23 squadrons. We are very close to Pakistan, which has 2 J-35 squadrons, which is 5th generation. Our 5th generation will come up only in 2035, which is MCA. And that too, production starts at that time. What happens in the interim? For short term, we do need 114 MRF aircraft.
No, but your views on that.
One word about it. I have been, for last 50 plus years, I have been an aeronautical engineer. I have seen this domain, what we call ecosystem for aircraft manufacturing or any kind of aviation manufacturing. It has grown robust. Now it is growing more robust. The policies are in place, and we cannot lose heart because we have some incidents, some very poignant incidents. We still have to progress on the
I have been told that I'm just being joined by the former chairman and managing director of HAL, T. Suvarna Raju. He has made Jaguars. Our program is having impact. Are you there, sir? There he is. Are you there, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
I'm there, Arnab.
How are you
yes,
doing?
Arnab.
How are you doing this evening, sir? Thank you for joining.
I'm good, Arnab.
Sir, we have a raging debate going on tonight, and you have made Jaguars. You're part of this entire Tejas mission. You have been former chairman of HAL. Some of our panelists are saying that HAL is to blame. And HAL cannot be trusted to deliver what the Air Force needs.
No. Look around. When the topic on the day is of Jaguars, right?
Right, sir.
None in the world have any rights on the project. But today, Indian Air Force is flying more than 100 Jaguars, right? Who's doing it?
Who's doing it? Okay, can you reduce the size your TV volume just a little bit? Just tell someone to reduce your TV volume and continue. This is a great debate.
Yes,
just mute it because you're live there.
I was not prepared for this.
No, that's all right. We're all right. I'm so happy you've joined. Now he's throwing a counter question tonight. He's saying Indian Air Force is flying 100 Jaguars. Nobody has the license to manage them. Who's doing it? Can you answer him?
Even though the Indian Air Force...
You answer him, sir.
Yes. Even though the Indian Air Force is flying, the total number is supposed to be 115. We got operational 83 today online, which we are flying. But what it means to say is we have had 65 crashes since 1981 of Jaguar. This means there is something seriously wrong with our production agency as well as with our...
One minute. Let him respond, sir. You want to respond to that, Mr. Raju?
Answer him, sir. Yes. Even though the Indian Air Force is flying, their total number is supposed to be 115. We got
He's listening from the TV
today online, which we are flying. But what it means to say is we have had 65 crashes since 1981 on Jaguar. This means there is something seriously wrong with our production agency.
Boss, Arnab, let me come in.
Please do.
Let me come in.
Please do.
1980, the Jaguars are started producing in India. But let's not get into the reasons who bought it, how it has come there. But the only country who's flying Jaguars till today is India. Oman closed it. UK closed it. Everyone closed it. But today, we want our country to fly the Jaguars, and it's flying. And you know the characteristics of Jaguar. I don't know what he's trying to say that get into the reasons who bought it, how it has come there. But the only country who's flying Jaguar till today is India. Therein one, therein two, therein three. It is the only authority in India is HL. Not in the world.
Okay, I get your point. So what he's saying there, and I want to go back to you, gentlemen, 1 minute. And it's an interesting comeback by the former HAL chief. What he's trying to say broadly, viewers, is trust HAL. We know what we are doing. We know what we are doing. We're capable. You're making a case to strengthen HAL further, aren't you, Mr. Raju? Strengthen HAL further. But what do we do in the short term? What does the Air Force do in the short term? And it's an interesting comeback by the former HAL chief. Is the audio going through? But he's listening from the TV, so it's taking some time. I need him to respond to that. He sure will in just a few minutes.
Arnab, the only support you have for the Jaguars when there are no market in the world to support your spares, right? Only HL is supporting you. You know that we got about 36 Jaguar. The TV, so it's taking some time. I need him to respond.
Okay, I got your point. You want to respond to that, sir?
So basically, actually, I'm not so much against HL in that sense.
No.
So what I'm trying to say, there is a hybrid solution to it. At the moment, if you see the gap he was talking about is going to be a 500 aircraft,
yes.
fighter aircraft.
Yes.
The gap is going to be there in numbers.
Yes, that's right.
So how do we meet these numbers?
Yeah.
We have projections, but no numbers with the Indian Air Force.
Yeah.
So in between, we need to patch in the numbers, and then that numbers, I'm pretty sure, is coming through that multi-role fighter aircraft program, which is likely to come
He's making a larger point from what he's saying.
What he's trying to say, any aging aircraft,
right.
We have to do obsolescence management. I agree with him that there are problems with the hot components of the aero engine. There are problems with the other supply chain, and these problems will cause delays in production of the aircraft. But when it comes to an aircraft which is flying, the aircraft which is flying has to be flying.
No, I think nobody's taking the credit away from HAL of managing in difficult situations. I mean, an organization that was undermined is fighting back. But that's not the Air Force's problem, I understand. The HAL's problem is not the Air Force's problem. But having said that, a simple solution to you end with this, sir. What do we do in the short term? Acquisition of aircraft seems to be the only alternative.
Yes, we have.
How do we do part-term acquisition and
then? My personal opinion on this is we'll have to follow something like what we have done for C295. We fly in a few aircrafts, like we flew 16 directly from Airbus, Spain, and 40 are being manufactured here in Baroda, which PM inaugurated with this. So we do an agreement with a country that you give us a few squadrons directly.
Yeah.
The rest you do.
We'll build ourselves. We'll build ourselves.
We lay a roadmap that initial indigenization would be 40%, increasing to 60%, increasing to 80%. And when we are capable, we will develop our own engine.
How do we have will they agree?
So we have to, because
we have to make them agree.
Yes.
I make a point here. This is the formal way of engaging with any kind of production.
True.
We normally have in flyaway state.
Yeah.
Then we have what we call SKD, semi-knockdown kits.
Yeah.
Then we have CKD, component level, this thing.
Yeah.
And it goes on.
Yeah.
So that's how the indigenization increases. But what is his concern? What is his concern probably is that all that takes time, but there is a hybrid way. This is the hybrid way. You get something that will happen through what I was talking about, the multi-role fighter aircraft.
Yeah.
So if we say our own Tejas, our own Mark 1A, Mark 2, and all this will fill in the gap, and we have AMCA program going on.
I would close.
But still, we need to buy something.
I would only close by saying that I think we have the opportunity to negotiate. The world will negotiate with us. We are good negotiators, but we can't just depend on having the best soldiers or the best air warriors. We have to get the best equipment. Having said that, finally, not taking sides on this, we reported so much on defense camps in the past, sir. Earlier, defense was seen as a way of making money for previous governments. This one is trying to bring Atmanirbhar Bharat in. So we have to merge the best of the present and be practical about it. I thank you all for joining. I hope we keep up this discussion. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this evening.
लाल रंग इसका अपार, तीखा कम है फिर भी स्वाद, बेमिसाल MDH कश्मीरी,
MDH कश्मीरी।
MDH